Moving on to the next topic, actually going on to basketball, we were just talking about the NBA. This past Saturday, the Warriors and the Thunder, we had that matchup that we all been talking about. We've been waiting for that. We even had a caller call in to talk about this same topic with us, and it was a pretty good game. It was throughout most of the game, it seemed as though the Warriors were going to run away with it, but the Thunder just never really were letting up. Really, they were always kind of consistently with the Warriors, and they ended up just only losing by 8 points. So you look at it like that. It was 108-116, and throughout most of the game, especially. But here the game started. The Thunder came out, punched the Warriors in the mouth right away. They were making tough shots. They came out for 9-0 lead. But then I think I told Rashad at one point when we were watching the game, I was like, man, the Warriors are about to come back and start putting the work on the Thunder, because the Thunder were making tough contested shots. And it seemed like the Warriors were getting easy shots, but they just weren't making them. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, this is the thing that baffles me, because you look at the numbers, the Thunder shot better from three. They shot 31% from three. The Warriors only made 7 threes. They shot 26%, 27% essentially from three. The Thunder made way more free throws. They were 29 of 37. The Warriors were 13 of 20. The Thunder actually out rebounded the Warriors. They 50-46. They had 2 less assists. It was 22-24. Thunder had more steals. The Thunder had more blocks. The Thunder did have more turnovers, which can cost you in a game like this. The Thunder had the least amount of fouls. They were down in fast break points by 1 point. So you look at it like that, and you're like, man, the Thunder it seemed like they were in a position to win this game, but the Warriors pulled it out. So what do you guys think about this game? Did we see kind of like a pre-glimpse of what we can maybe expect in the Western Conference Finals, or just in the playoffs in general, with the Thunder and Warriors matchup? And from that game, do y'all feel like the Thunder are the best matchup to knock off the Warriors? Khaled, let me hear what you got to say first. What do you think?
I think because I think the question that you asked was, did the Thunder, like for the topic, was the Thunder like find a break in the Warriors' armor?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did. I think they just kept up with the Warriors. You got Kevin Durant shooting, making 40 points. You got Russell Westbrook making 26 points. 27. Yeah. And you see them just scoring so efficiently. But it's just that the Warriors have so many people to score for them. And like OKC, all we saw was really KD making those incredible shots and Russell Westbrook. So I do think that I think they really kept their pace with the Warriors in the 7-game series. I think that they'll keep up with them. I'm not sure about them beating them, but they definitely do have the offensive capability to keep up with the Warriors, from what I've seen.
All right, Rashad, what do you think?
Nah. This Thunder team didn't do anything more than what Milwaukee and them did against them. You played a team that shot bad, a team that doesn't down by the three. They shot pitiful from 3-point, and they still won. So what does that say about the Thunder? You're playing a team that averages about 15 made threes a game, about something like that.
Yeah.
And they hit less than half of that, and you still lose. So you did one part of your game plan right, but you did the other part. So every game they're not going to shoot like that. Every game they're not going to hold Steph to under 50% shooting. Klay Thompson shot 8 for 15. He was above 50%. But you're not gonna hold these people to like 26 points and 18 points. Nah. Every game, and you still lose. Milwaukee at least won. They at least won when they did it, but they lost. So they showed me nothing. Yes. Now to the other question you said, does this look like the best matchup for them in the playoffs? I do think it's still the best matchup because we saw how that pace went for both teams. That's what both teams do. Both teams get up and run. So it wasn't harder for another team to do what the other team was doing because that's what they both do. Mm-hmm. That's where it's a better matchup for them other than San Antonio, who goes a slower tempo. San Antonio may have a better team, but it doesn't fit the same pace they run. This team, at least, nothing changes for their game plan. Their game plan is still the same. But did it show anything wrong with it? It didn't show nothing more than what Milwaukee showed. Just showed them shooting bad. They still win though, but hey, it's Golden State Warriors for you. That's why they're on pace to break the record right now.
I agree with y'all because I agree with you that because the Thunder because the Warriors didn't shoot efficiently from three, but the Thunder's defense had a great part to do with that because they were running the Warriors off the 3-point line. So there were open looks the Warriors had that they did miss that they normally would hit, but the Thunder also did do a good job of forcing like Steph Curry to get off the 3-point line, which where we saw Steph and them wheeling and dealing from under the 3-point line. That's why you saw a player like Maurice Spates and the bench coming in, and they were being productive because they had a lot of open shots because Steven Adams and Russell Westbrook in pick and roll would come. Russell Westbrook had to go over picks, and Steven Adams had to show hard in order for Steph Curry not to be able to shoot a three, but then it leaves players like Maurice Spates and whoever else open. But I think a big stat that played a part in this game was the fact that the Warriors bench scored 42 points and the Thunder's bench only scored 17. Like, you need more help from your bench. Like, Cameron Payne went 1 of 7 from the field shooting, and he only had 3 points. Anthony Morrow went 0 of 3. Kyle Singler went 0 of 1. Where you look at the Warriors bench, Maurice Spates had 15 points. Sean Livingston had 10 points. Barbosa had 9 points. Andre Iguodala had 8 points. And that was honestly the stretch where the lead got away from the Thunders when their bench came in, because that was a point in time where they didn't have Russell Westbrook and or Kevin Durant in. And that was when they just started getting run out of the building by the Warriors when their bench came in, because the Warriors bench came in and shot efficiently. Every player on the Warriors bench, except for Brandon Rush, shot over 50%. Like, that's crazy. Almost 60%. Actually, almost over 60%, because each one of them, Sean Livingston, 4 of 7. Leonardo Barbosa, 4 of 6. Maurice Spates, 6 of 10. Andre Iguodala, 4 of 6. So they did their job against the starters. Like, the starters, they limited most of the starters. Like, Draymond Green went 3 of 9. He didn't get the triple-double he's normally accustomed to getting because the Thunder's defense, I mean, granted, the first half, the Thunder played awful on defense. They gave us 73 points. You can't give us 73 points and expect to win the game. It's not going to happen in the first half. But the second half, they held the Warriors under 40 points. So, actually, no, they held them just about 40 points because they finished with 116. So what's that? The first half they had 73. So that's what, 43 points in the second half. So they did a way better job at defending the Warriors in the second half, and then that's how they got back into the game. But I think initially when that bench came in, that's one thing that's been the Thunder's weakness for the whole season, because they don't have Andre Roberson that comes off of that normally starts in place of Dion Waiters, and now without him in the lineup, you have to bring Dion Waiters off the bench, who was your primary scorer, most cases from the bench. So now when you force Dion Waiters into a starting role, it limits your bench scoring, where you have to go to Enes Kanter the most of the time. And it frustrates me when you know that you have a low – the Warriors go small, and you know you have a low post scorer, but then I feel like every team resorts to playing the Warriors game and just always going outside. Because if Draymond Green isn't in the game, I mean, you at least try and post him up. Because if your bench is in the game and you know Enes Kanter can score from the post, why are you going away from the post and having Cameron Payne jack up threes like this? I guess, he's Steph Curry. It doesn't make any sense to me. And Enes Kanter only took 10 shots, and yet and he went 7 of 10. So that shows when he was in the game he was effective. Yeah, he was effective. So he was 14 and 15. He went 14. He has 15 rebounds and 14 points in 20 minutes of play. Like those are good numbers. And the Thunder actually made sure they stayed big even when the Warriors went small with the depth lineup. And it was working for them because in pick and rolls, the Warriors were struggling to guard them because Russell Westbrook is so explosive off a pick and roll. Like, he's hard to keep up with. They had to take Stephen Curry off of him because he couldn't guard him. And you see they even struggle to guard Kevin Durant. But then here's the thing that the Thunder always do late in games that everybody always says is their Achilles heel. The Thunder resort to 1-2 ball. It's either Kevin Durant or it's Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? It's always one of them two. They just go out of playing that team ball that got them back in the game in general. Because what got them back in the game was Russell Westbrook running the pick and roll or Kevin Durant running the pick and roll. And the Warriors, and then you have Dion Waiters even in the corner or somewhere. And the Warriors can't leave him because he can shoot the three. but then they're too small at the rim to protect the rim and start apart from Draymond Green. And Steven Adams and Enes Kanter can finish around the rim. So then you can dump the ball off to those guys, and then you get a layup or something, or you get fouled. And that's when the Thunder were making a run back. But then when you have Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant taking ill-advised threes, like Kevin Durant hit one of those threes, but he was jacking the threes in that fourth quarter. And some of them were just – you're just like, why would you take a shot like that? I think there was one point he took a three when nobody was even set up to get the rebound, and it resulted in the Warriors getting a fast break bucket because the alignment on the court spacing was wrong because he took a three that nobody was expecting. So the Warriors got a fast break bucket easily off of it. And you look at those things, and there's a lot of things that you could take away from the game. I feel like I definitely saw the fact that the Thunder weren't going to let the Warriors play their style, like, their three-ball basketball. But I feel like they took that away only to let them play into another style of basketball that they play, which is, the free flow basketball, I would say. That's how I describe it. It's free flow, where they just kind of go off of whatever's happening. Like, there was times where I saw, I forgot who, as Mark Jackson, when they were calling the game, and he said that on those pick and rolls that when Russell Westbrook is coming over, you can't have your hands down and let Steph Curry pass a line drive pass to Maurice Space or whoever else to get an open shot, jump shot. You have to put your hands up, so he has to lob it over you in order to get it to that player and give your big man time to get back. And it's things like that, just those small little plays that if you don't make them, the Warriors will always beat you. But, I mean, from what we saw, it looks as though the Thunder were the team that matched up the best against the Warriors. Like Rashad was saying, that they seem to match up athletically and be that team that can, keep up with the Warriors on the perimeter, because the Warriors weren't getting the most open looks. Like, the Thunder were able to rotate fast enough to contest the Warriors' threes and make them feel uncomfortable getting the threes, or make them shoot the threes at a faster rate, or second guess the threes. And when you take that three-point marksmanship away from the Warriors, and if the Thunder's bench doesn't get outscored 42-17, this is an entirely different game possibly. But I mean, that's part of what makes the Warriors great, is their depth. But
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
See, I know people are probably listening, probably talking about. I mean, they shot 26 threes. That's a lot of threes. Like, when you say limited off the threes, for those who don't know, the Golden State Warriors shoot between 30 and 40 a game.
Yeah.
So they shot 26, which is well below what they shot against the Bulls. I think they shot 40 against the Bulls. They shot 32 against the Cavs, and they shot 40 against the Wizards.
That's a lot.
And they shot 26 against the Thunder. So the Thunder, actually, like Brittany said, the Thunder did do a good job of getting them off the three-point line, because they limited up to 26 threes.
Yeah.
Which is what they hit in some games.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's like games like that when they're hitting those threes, like, because the three-point basket is the most deadly shot in the game. I mean, when we were watching the game, and it was so funny because Klay Thompson had hit a three that made it a 6-point game. And Rashad was like, it's something about the three-point shot that just takes the momentum out. It takes the air out of the game. It takes their soul out. And it's like, it's just one more point. But it's just the fact that it's a three-pointer. Like, knowing that you're down by 6 instead of 5, knowing that you're down by 3 instead of 2, is just so demoralizing. And that's what the Warriors do. They just hit those threes that demoralize you, but the Thunder did a good job of making sure they never really got demoralized throughout the game, apart from when their bench came in and gave up that huge run by the Warriors bench.
They really kept up. And
yeah.
The bench would have scored, did good scoring too.
They probably would have won if the Thunder bench can keep up and be consistent. That's one thing that I just don't understand about the Thunder. I mean, granted, like I said earlier, that Dion Waiters is normally a bench player who, will get them bench scoring. He normally runs the offense sometimes on the bench. But that's one thing the Thunder didn't do during the game, because when Stephen Curry was guarding Dion Waiters, they had him just be a spot up shot. I'm like, why don't you put him in pick and rolls with Stephen Curry? I think I heard Mark Jackson say the same thing. I was like,
pick and roll with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, force them, like, you're force pick and roll action that they can't switch on, or if they do switch, it results with Stephen Curry guarding Kevin Durant. Like, that's the matchup you want. You want Steph, undersized Steph, to have to guard Kevin Durant. And then on the other end, I mean, even when they switched, because the Warriors, the Thunder were switching too, but the Thunder showed they can switch with the Warriors, because there was plenty of times Dion Waiters was stuck on Draymond Green in the post, and he played great defense on him. He played excellent defense, because Dion Waiters he's a good defender. I mean, he has that physicality to his game that if you're trying to bump him, he's not just going to get, bumped all the way under the basket. He's going to give you push back. And it showed that that's what helped them be able to stay in it when they went to that lineup with those four. I think there was Russell, Kevin Durant, Dion Waiters, Anthony Morrow, and Steven Adams or Enes Kanter interchangeably, because they took Enes Kanter out inevitably. But when you see that lineup and you see that the Thunder can match up with them, but I mean, it's just all about if you can get the help from your bench, and if at the end of the game you can't have it be Russell and Kevin Durant, because that goes back to what everybody's talking about with Scott Brooks, how the offense, it felt like sometimes with so much ISO coming to late game situations that everybody, it was either Kevin Durant looking at Russell Westbrook like, hey, is it you or is it me? Is it going to be you or me? And Russell Westbrook is like, oh, I think it should be you because everybody's getting on me about my shot selection.
So 8 for 22 right now, so it should be.
Yeah,
I'm shooting 8 for 22. Go ahead, Durant.
Yeah, you got it, KD. But then it's like then Kevin Durant takes a three it's not even like it's an open three. He takes a three that's like 3 feet behind the 3-point line and it's contested. So you're just like,
I got to a better shot than that. And I shoot regular shots.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's like man, like that's the best thing you could have came up with out of a late game situation. But that's.
I'm gonna tell you why he didn't beat them though. I'm gonna tell you why he only dropped 40.
He only dropped 40.
He only dropped 40. He's like, you know what? I could have did more, but I still want to get signed here next year. So,
that's a question too. That's a question in the next offseason. Where will Kevin Durant end up? But we'll talk about that in the hopefully in the near future. You know, he'll give an answer on it sometime. But NBA free agency isn't until June, so we won't know until then.